Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today we are going to do Islamic geometric patterns. Actually, we're going to be doing an Islamic geometric tile. For that, we are going to need, either we can have a paper, a cardstock, or we can have these really lovely cardboards that we have recycled from the packages we received. We will need a pencil, a ruler, a pair of scissors, and eraser. Now, what we're going to achieve with this is going to be something similar to this kind of results. So we're going to have either something similar to this, or something similar to this, or something similar to this. The idea is that we make a tile pattern, and in the center of the pattern, we're going to write that I love my bean, or something similar to that. So before we move forward, just want to let you know, at any given point in time where you feel that the video is going too fast or my instructions are too fast to follow, I'll try my best to keep it as slow as possible. But if you find that they are going fast, please request your teacher to pause the video so that you can follow through with the instructions. Alright, so let's begin, shall we? So as you can see, I've got a cardboard. It's a corrugated cardboard, and it's not even, as you can see, it's not a square. So I'm going to try to cut it and make it into a square. So let's begin, shall we? Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Okay, so first things first, I'm going to measure the width of this cardboard, if you can bear with me for a second. Yeah, so I'm going to measure the width, and it comes to 18 centimeters. I'm going to measure the width, and I'm going to use the exact same measurement of 18 centimeters, and I'm going to put a dot here. And then I'm going to flip it around and again measure the length and put a dot at 18 centimeters. What that will do is it will give us a perfect square. And then finally I am going to connect the two dots and draw a line. Now this part you might need supervision from a grown-up, or if you're confident with your scissor skills, then you can do it with, you can do it by yourself. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it really slow. You actually have another option. You can just leave this side and not work on this side if you don't want to cut it yourself, and just work on the square part of it. Or you can ask a grown-up, or I can cut it for you and cut it with you, and we go really slow at this. Okay, so we're going to take a little bit at a time. As you can see, it's a bit tough, but it's not impossible. So keep cutting at it a little at a time. Don't go too fast. Just go by the tip of the scissors. You just need that much. And there we go. So we have actually cut it into a square. Now, we're going to need our pencil and our ruler. And we are going to draw the outlines. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my ruler, and whatever the width of my ruler is, I'm just going to keep it at that, as you can see from the edge, and I'm going to draw a straight line. Then I'm going to turn it around and then do the same. I'm going to push my ruler all the way to the edge, and I'm going to draw a straight line. And then rotate, and then repeat. Push the ruler all the way to the edge, to the side, and then draw a straight line. And finally, rotate, push the ruler all the way to the edge, and draw a straight line. Now, I'm not sure if it is visible, but to make it a little more visible, I'm going to use a marker so that you can see the inner square that I have. I now have an inner square, and this is the area we're going to work in. You don't have to draw these lines that I'm making with a marker. I'm doing it for your for you to be able to see the square that I've made, because I think with a pencil on a cardboard it's a bit hard to see. I mean, I can't see it in the video, but I'm hoping that you can. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we are going to use our ruler one more time, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to draw a line and then rotate, a line, rotate, line, rotate. And it's going to give us another square on the inside. So let's do this. Line. I'm going to rotate. And then another line. and I'm going to rotate another line, rotate, and then a final line. And now I've got a smaller inner square. To make it a little more visible, I'm going to use my marker. You don't have to do this step. I'm just doing it so that you can see it. So now you can see we've got two squares and they're quite visible. We're going to move to the next step. Now this is going to be a bit interesting. I'm not going to say it's really tricky because it's not really that tricky. You just have to be good at dividing. So now what we have is the inner box is 6 centimeters. So we're going to split it halfway and we're going to draw a dot. So half of 6 is 3. So at 3 I'm going to put a dot. Now mind you, this entire measurement is on my cardboard size. If your cardboard size is bigger, I need you to measure the inner box. For instance, say that you have the measurement of your inner box is 12. So I don't want you putting a dot at 3. I want you to put a dot at 6 because obviously the entire length is 12 centimeters for you. So you want to do half of that. So again, similarly, whatever is the measurement of your inner square, take half of it and put a dot. So mine is 6 centimeters, therefore I am putting a dot at 3 centimeters. Now again, I'm going to rotate this square and I'm going to again put a dot at 3 centimeters. Now you can pause the video at this point and you can do this. If you have been left behind, I would request the teacher to pause it so that the children can catch up. But this is the process we're doing. We're literally doing, there's a lot of repetition, a lot of rotation because that's what we do. So again, 6 centimeters and I'm going to put a mark at 3. The next step is going to be something similar to this. Just the way we've put dots in the middle of our inner box, we're going to put dots on the outer box on all 4 sides. The easy way to do is just align the dot here with the dot here, and that would automatically give us, it's going to automatically give us dots here. So we rotate it one more time, and again, the top and the bottom dot is going to automatically give us dots for the other 2. So now I've got a dot here, I've got a dot here, I've got a dot here. Now the only reason I'm making these dots really dark is so that it's visible. Maybe it is visible, but I can't see them from where I'm looking at. So I'm just gonna make them a bit darker. So now you should have something similar to this. So the next step is a lot easier. We're just going to take our ruler and we are going to start connecting the dots. Now, I'm going to go a bit slow here because it's a slightly bit tricky here. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take the inner dot on our left hand side and connect it to the outer dot on the top outer square. Okay, it's not that difficult. It's pretty straightforward, but I'm going to go super slow. So we're going to do that. Now again, we're going to twist it around. The rule is that the dot on the outer side should connect with a dot on the inner side. So now that we have a dot on the outer square, we're going to go and connect it with a dot on the inner square. Not this one, over here, that one. It always has to go at a diagonal. So go there and we connect it there. And now we have a dot on the inner side. We're going to connect it on the dot on the outer side. And the final twist of the cardboard, and dot on the outer square gets connected to the dot on the inner square. So I've just outlined with a marker the lines that we made. So you should have a nice little diamond in the middle of the inner square. Now, again, we're going to repeat the same process, only this time it's going to be slightly reversed. So now it's the dot on the inner square connected to the dot on the left-hand side on the outer square. If at any given point in time you feel it's going too fast for you, just feel free to ask your teacher to stop it, pause the video, so that you can follow up. I'm going to rotate it, and now I have a dot on the outer square, which is going to connect to the dot on the inner square. One more rotation. Dot on the inner square connected to the dot on the outer square. One final rotation. Dot on the outer square connected to the dot on the inner square. And we are done. Isn't that brilliant? We now officially have an Islamic geometric design. To make it even more interesting, what we can do is you can stop right here if you want, or if you're feeling adventurous, you can take this corner and this corner of the two squares and you can connect them. And just, the lines that we already made, you just solidify those. So now you should have something that looks like this. I'm just going to, I already have these lines with my pencil, I'm just going to solidify them with a marker. So it will help you understand better what I'm doing. You don't have to do this because, again, these lines are already there. But I'm just making these lines so that they're more visible on the video. So, again, the corner of the inner square and the corner of the outer square. And I'm going to connect them. And then I'm going to take the corner of the inner square and the corner of the outer square. And I'm going to connect them. I will keep doing it till I've done all the four corners. This is the last corner, so I'm going to take the inner corner, the outer corner, and I'm going to connect them. Look at that. Now, it looks like a jumble of a lot of lines, but once we start coloring it in, when we start painting it, it'll look really, really nice. Alright, for this step, we are going to now color in our pattern. And so we should be able to achieve results like these. Not exactly the same, but something similar. So what we're going to do is we're going to need a couple of paintbrushes. We're going to need at least 2 paintbrushes so that we don't have to keep getting up. If you've got more, then I think I would suggest you use a different paintbrush for each color. You're going to need your paints. Yes, these are quite well-loved and well-used paints, so they are quite messy, but just ignore that. You might need a dish because there will be points where we'll be mixing 2 different colors to get a new color. So we're going to be mixing 2 primary colors to get a new color. And finally, we need some water in a jar, because obviously it's watercolor, and a couple of tissues. I would recommend that you have a kitchen towel or even a rag that you use for this. I'm just using a pipette, but you can use your brush. Now, the way watercolor works is you have to activate the color. Activating a color means that you have to put loads of water on it and just leave it for like literally 30 seconds. So I'm choosing my colors. I'm going to do a pink, a blue, and maybe an orange. I think I'm going to go with an orange. You can choose your color. You can pause the video, get your stuff together, and then you can rejoin me once you have all your things. So you'll need paintbrushes, paint, watercolor, water, a dish. You might or might not use it. It's just to mix colors. I don't think I will be mixing any today, but yeah, you will be needing a rag or a kitchen towel. And I think that's about it. So pause the video and get your stuff together. Oh, and once you have your stuff, don't forget to activate your watercolors because they might have gone dry by now. So putting in a little water and waiting for like literally 10 seconds or 12 seconds is going to make it a bit more, for a lack of a better word, a bit more juicier. So you'll be able to pick more pigment and be able to transfer that pigment on your cardboard. So I'll see you in a few. Okay, so the way we add color, usually I use watercolor on watercolor paper, but a cardboard is a really cool medium to use as well because you can you can actually put holes on two sides, run a string through it, and you would have a really cute little poster to hang with this gorgeous tile and a lovely message in the center. So, enjoy your paint. There's no rush. There's no need to go running through it. The best way of doing watercoloring is to go slow and to enjoy the process. It's a really good way of thinking how soothing and how calming this experience is. When I'm watercoloring, I usually think a lot of questions about how fortunate we are that Allah has blessed us with eyesight, that we can enjoy all these gorgeous, vibrant colors. And I think of how amazing it is that Allah has made so many colors. Like, you could literally mix any two colors and you could get a new color, subhanAllah. And I think, now that I'm working on a cardboard, I'm thinking, if Allah hadn't created these trees, these gorgeous forests and trees and vegetation, we wouldn't have been able to make paper, let alone make cardboard. So we have a lot to be grateful for to Allah. And I think one of the ways to show gratitude is to actually not waste what Allah has given us. Now, we all know there's no planet B. So what you have right now and what I have right now is all that we have. So we need to really respect the planet, the resources that Allah has gifted us. And I think by recycling this cardboard, we are doing an amazing thing, because we're not just throwing it away and it's not just going to go to waste. I'll tell you a really interesting story. Growing up, I grew up in Pakistan, and I was 15 years old when we moved back to Pakistan, and interesting enough, I would always think to myself, like, there's nothing that we waste, as in we're so green. Back then, there was no concept of plastic for everything, plastic wrapping, plastic plates. It wasn't the norm. People actually thought, why do I need to use cheap plastic when I can use a ceramic plate? And why do I need to put things in a plastic bag? Because every household, they had their own tote bag. A tote bag is like a cloth bag. And I remember at that time, my Daya, my dad's elder brother, we were living with them, and he would go every morning to get milk, and he would go to the milkman's shop early morning, and he would have a metal container in which he would bring the milk. Unlike nowadays where you get milk in a plastic bag, or you get milk in cartons. And then, the interesting thing is that we never threw away anything. There would always be some street vendors who would come and collect, and they would, if you had old newspaper, old cardboard, there would be someone who would come and, they had these street vendors that would be calling out, like, we collect. It was called Raddi. That's what it was called. It was called Raddi. Raddi meant, like, I don't know what it means. I think it meant leftover. So, yeah, we recycled paper in our house. We even recycled leftover food. So if any bread went stale, any roti went stale, we wouldn't throw it away. We would put it in a bag, and then we would, the guy would come and we would give it to him, and that would become fodder for cows and sheep and cattle. And it's such an amazing thing that whatever we're consuming from our beautiful earth, there's no byproduct. Everything is going back. Anyways, fast forward. Now when I go to Pakistan, I feel so gutted that people use so much plastic, plastic Tupperware, plastic containers, plastic plates. And I just think, like, wow, I wish we could go back to the time where everything was recycled. There's a piece of wood that needs to be, like, it's broken, and you could give it to that guy who came, and they would see to it that it's, put away, recycled. Everything that we had would be recycled eventually. And I thought those were good days. It's a shame that we've gone from being such a green country to being such a non-green country. Inshallah, I'm hoping that we're going to be more green. We're going to plant more trees. We're going to do more stuff that makes our beautiful country even more beautiful. And I'll tell you something really interesting. In England, where I am right now, they actually they have these sites where you can go. It's called I forgot. basically it's a dump where you go and just throw stuff and they recycle it. And over there you can throw away all sorts of stuff, like old toasters, old metal, everything. And the food goes in a compost, and it's like a place where it's like basically in a bin where you can only throw away food products or food leftovers. And I'm thinking, wow, it's such an advanced country, and even then when it comes to recycling, they follow this pretty much the same method that we did back home in Pakistan. And I was thinking, like, why can we not do that anymore? There's so many bins and in Pakistan, but it's overflowing with mess, and I don't see anybody recycling it. But I'm very, very confident that as time passes, our children, inshallah, they will appreciate the nature more. They will not abuse it. They will not waste. There's a saying, waste not, want not. So if you don't need it, don't waste it. Put it to good use. We can all put it to good use, isn't it? Okay, so as you can see, we're progressing. So I would recommend that you choose any not two, but I would say about 3 to 4 colors, and just use that and paint it and enjoy it. And once you're done, we can put a beautiful saying in the middle. We can use a quote. Like my favorite quote is from the Quran, and it's Hasbunallah, which means Allah is enough for me. And that pretty much means that, you know, whatever my problems are, whatever my affairs are, Allah's always there, and He's enough to sort out my problems. So I'm going to put Hasbunallah, or I'm going to put Allah is enough for me, and you can decide what you want to put in it. I think I love my deen is a pretty nice caption as well. And I would recommend that you put 2 holes here, one over here and one over here, and put a thread through it, and you can hang it as a gorgeous little piece of art in your bedroom, or and it'll look just absolutely dazzling once it's all colored in and once it's all decorated. So I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to finish this. I'm going to put my caption in, and I'm going to show you the final product. Okay, so I finished my painting. I finished watercoloring it in, and I've even put in my title, Allah is enough. But you can do that, or you can put any title that you want. I also have a title called I Love Allah, or I Love My Deen, or I think something befitting would be nice to go with the Islamic geometric design. I hope you enjoy this session, and I can't wait to do another art class with you guys. So inshallah, until next time, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.